Hello and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club again for a lucky 13th part from my self-published book in August of this year entitled The Spirit of Cricket. On page 182, and without further ado, you will find a chapter entitled Ashes Summer Musings Volume 10, Giants and Metalheads, Baseball and Ashes Despair. Sunday the 16th of July 2023. Hidden behind the broad smile of victory, there was more than a hint of seriousness as Australian captain Alyssa Healy suggested that her world champion and now Ashes retaining team hadn't played our best cricket yet. Best cricket or not, this afternoon's 3-run victory at the Ageas Bowl in my home county of Hampshire has at least ensured her team retains a grip on the Ashes, with the win at Taunton on Tuesday securing they win this incredibly tight series outright. Healy's counterpart Heather Knight smiled through the pain of defeat whilst looking forward to one final showdown with the Aussies on Tuesday, and with the score now 8-6 in favour of an unbeatable and now Ashes retaining Australian team, we have a host of sporting absurdities to look forward to. Far from being a dead rubber, if England win on Tuesday they will celebrate a mini-series victory in the one-day international portion of this Ashes, but even if they do, Australia will hold the far larger party, as even if the Ashes are shared, they still retain custody as holders of the urn. An Australian victory would see these dual celebrations quashed, and perhaps Healy and her team have indeed saved their very best cricket for the final game in the series. Winning the toss and electing to bat first, Healy and her team posted a monstrous 282 for 7 from their 50 overs, and although the captain only registered 13 runs herself, 5 of her teammates weighed in with crucial, unique and often spectacular batting displays all of their own. Both Beth Mooney, again, and all-round Ashes superstar this summer Ashley Gardner wrapped 33 runs each before Annabelle Sutherland clubbed 50 from just 47 balls on her way to a maiden half-century in one-day internationals for her country, with all of these top-order innings supporting Elise Perry's backbone innings of 91 from 124 balls. With 1 over remaining, Australia had already seemingly batted their way to an impressive and imposing total to chase before Georgia Wareham dispatched England's Lauren Bell to all parts of Hampshire. The 24-year-old spin bowler from Terang crashed Bell for 2 consecutive boundary sixes before a boundary 4, a 6 again, another boundary 4 and a quickly run 2 before failing to score from the last ball of an over that had seen Wareham score 26, taking her personal score to 37 from just 14 balls received, and Australia to a seemingly unbeatable 282 for 7. England set about their enormous run chase with the bright, breezy brio of Test match double centurion Tammy Beaumont, who brilliantly clubbed and caressed a runnable 60. Her demise at 107 for 2 was a signifier of things to come, as well as a piece of cricketing beauty. 27-year-old Alana King is a disciple in the bowling arts of Shane Warne, and the great man would have loved the delivery that ended Beaumont's bubbling innings. Pitching on middle and leg stump, King's perfect leggy spun viciously past Beaumont's defence for a real piece of cricketing beauty, and no, I won't apologise for repeating myself, for it was the perfect leg spin delivery, pitching in one direction, spinning and straightening many inches the other, the death rattle of bails leaving stumps sure to follow. Oh, the king of spin would have loved that delivery. King would grab 3 wickets, Gardner 2, and with Georgia Wareham taking the first wicket of the innings to fall, Australia rather spun their way to victory, with all 7 English wickets falling to Australian spin bowlers, and all ultimately in a losing cause. Only 2 batters bucked this sporting trend, with Sarah Glenn brilliantly supporting Nat Brunt, who scattered 10 boundary 4s all the way around the Ageas Bowl on her way to a 53-ball half-century, a 93-ball 100 and 111 not out from 99 balls received. Needing 15 from the final over, both Glenn and Siva Brunt shared 10 from the first 5 balls received, thus needing a boundary 6 to win or a boundary 4 for a super over. A tamely hit single ensured Australia had won yet another tight and cliché-ridden Titanic struggle by just 3 runs. Whether Australia have played their best cricket or not, they have retained the Ashes and lead the series 8-6 entering Tuesday's final one-day international at Taunton. If England win, we could have the semi-farcical prospect of the hosts winning 3 series in the shorter forms of the game and ultimately winning 4 matches as opposed to the Australians' 3. But with the visitors' triumph in the Test match counting double in the point system and 2 points from their sole victories in the IT20 and one-day international games, the Ashes will remain in Australian hands regardless of Tuesday's outcome. Whilst this cricketing hullabaloo was unfolding 175 odd miles away in my home county of Hampshire, and on the outskirts of a city my hometown friends can't pronounce without a sneer of contempt, I was watching my latest hometown team of Giants entertain some visiting Metalheads in the Australian pastime of baseball, and all within my spiritual home of Ironbridge on the banks of the River Severn. Being the baseball nut that I am, and proud LA Dodgers fan, I was delighted beyond measure when last summer I stumbled upon the faintly ridiculous and utterly absurd notion of a game of baseball in England, and that my hometown team played a mere hop, skip and second base steal from picturesque Ironbridge. So bribed with the prospect of some afternoon fish and chips beside the Ironbridge itself, and within the bubbling atmosphere that only Ironbridge can provide, my son indulged me for an hour of high-scoring baseball on the banks of a river in the very beating heart of central England. With my son insisting on being chief photographer, we retrieved errant baseballs from the surrounding trees or used them for temporary cover as yet another rain shower swept through a late July morning that was more reminiscent of a cold day in April. Sunshine and showers was the order of the day, as was the predicted victory for the visiting Metalheads from Birmingham, who were far too strong for my home team of Giants. I had the very real pleasure of explaining the game, a real life game rather than the one I've explained via the medium of a television, to a son who rather enjoyed himself. Just don't tell him that. As well as being magnanimous enough to say I was wrong and there was no way either team could hit a home run to the faraway boundaries. No way! Yet in the third inning alone, the visiting Metalheads crashed 3 multi-scoring homers on their way to scoring 10 runs in the innings, a 12-3 lead entering the 4th inning, and the signal for our departure for a stroll along the River Severn and the delights of fish and chips beside the oldest Ironbridge in the world. From 12-3 in favour of Birmingham at the top of the 4th, the game ended 5 innings later with a comprehensive scoreline of 26-11 in favour of the Metalheads, and with 31 runs being scored and a little piece of amateur sporting heaven on my doorstep, I'll be returning for their 3 season-ending home fixtures in August. Fish, chips and baseball beside the river? And why not? Why not indeed? Postscript. As at this evening, the rumoured drums reverberate to the sounds surrounding the resumption of the men's Ashes series on Wednesday, and suggestions that Jimmy Anderson will be returning for England in place of the injury-plagued Ollie Robinson. I hope this is the case, as I do that Chris Wokes and Mark Wood retain their respective places for a test match that England simply have to win to keep their Ashes hopes alive. Australia may have a selection pickle on their hands, as I foresee Josh Hazlewood replacing Scott Boland, and with Cameron Green returning from injury and Mitchell Marsh short to play following his century with the bat and wickets with the ball at Headingley, the axe must surely fall on spinning prodigy Todd Murphy, with Travis Head, Marnus Labuschagne or Steve Smith all able deputies in the spin department. England have to win. Wednesday can't come quickly enough, and I still believe this series ends 3-2. The heart says England, the head says otherwise. But the fly in the sporting ointment could be the dark black clouds forecasted to surround Old Trafford in Manchester from Wednesday through to Friday at least. Lengthy bad weather and a draw, the Australian men, as with their female counterparts, will have at least retained the Ashes. England, and my 3-2 prediction, could be foiled by the English weather. If these weather interruptions arrive, we could have the spectacle of intense, short, sharp sessions of cricket under heavy skies, dewy conditions, and a sweating wicket apt to see cricket balls swinging and seaming all over the place. Wickets aplenty, batting collapses under leaden skies, all the fun of the cricketing fair. I'm off to perform a reverse rain dance. See you on Tuesday. So that is, with me adjusting my glasses again, another episode of the Blackfoot Book Club. And I sincerely thank you for watching. There'll be links below for ways to support me or purchase a book I'm very proud of. But until next time, as ever, with a couple of stumbles, but I do leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I thank you again for watching.